Well, I'm doing wonderful. I guess as wonderful as you can be in 2020. Let's put it that way.
Hey,
Hey, it started off good. We're in Kansas City, Bill. The Chiefs win Super Bowl 54, first one in 50 years, and then things kind of slowly declined from there. But I guess that's the price you pay for a Lombardi Trophy.
well, congratulations on that, man. That's awesome. That's
It
awesome.
it was, but we're slowly trying to get things back to rolling. And we got so much to cover here, and you've been busy yourself. But I looked up here, man. Firehouse has a date coming up here in September 26th, right in
We got our
Wyoming.
fingers tightly crossed that that'll hold. Our last gig was in March,
Wow.
and we thought this was going to be a couple of weeks, maybe shut down, and so we were looking at the April calendar. Okay, we got gigs in April, so we're okay. And then those went away, and then we looked at May, and then those fell through, and then June, and then July, and then those are all getting pushed to 2021. So yeah, we're looking forward to that one, and we're just we know our 2021 calendar looks pretty good right now.
It does. I was just checking that out. You guys are, we're in Kansas City. You guys are gonna, have a date here in Kansas on July 3rd. But I mean, because there's been some shows that have occurred. I mean, I think Dawkins played a show down in Virginia, actually, just like a month or so ago. There's, Sturgis just took place, some concert. Jackal, I think, played. Fozzy, some bands played. I mean, what are your thoughts on kind of some of the one-off gigs that have been happening? Are you cool with that? Is that something? I mean, obviously,
I'm very cool with that.
yeah.
I believe we had a gig that we were supposed to do this past weekend, where it was going to be outdoors. Everybody was going to be socially distanced. They were going to pass out masks at the door in case somebody showed up without a mask. And the city council, not the governor, but the city council called the venue and said, if you do the gig, then we're going to fine you $25,000. We're going to take away your liquor license, and we're going to take away your food license. So the venue owner was forced to have to cancel the show, which, it's just everybody's erring on the side of caution, but so far on the side of caution that, I think it might be a little bit overkill. If you're doing the things that they say that you got to do to be safe, then you should be able to rock and roll.
And I so agree. And I hate to, I don't like to just, I mean, I have a sports show. I'm a music guy. I love what you guys do. I'm a fan of bands like Firehouse. I'm a fan of your new solo album. We're going to get into that. And I hate to even cross pollinate with politics, man. But when you hear things like this, the story you just told me, it's that is such an oppressive thing to have happen. And when you guys talked about how you had shows, okay, in March, that maybe it'll just be a couple weeks. And now we're talking about people making statements like, well, concerts may just never be able to return again. I mean, you're a musician, Bill. This is that's got to be, when you hear stuff like that, that's got to be borderline lunacy.
Well, it makes me just say that I disagree with that statement that concerts will never happen again. It makes me remind me that this whole idea was to flatten the curve so we wouldn't overwhelm the hospitals. And in my estimation, we have flattened the curve, and that the hospitals are not overwhelmed. And then they talk about a second wave. So, okay, I mean, I want to see the science on that. So I'm an optimist, and I'm sitting here thinking, hey, they're going to come up with therapeutics and a vaccine and some evidence that we're good to go, and it's going to happen soon. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I love it. I love the optimism. We definitely, know it at some point we will get back on the road, the correct road, hopefully. So, but I got to ask you because, so many artists that we've talked to kind of during this time, it's kind of been a similar theme, which is this is horrible. Losing out on touring has really been, devastating in a lot of ways. But for artists like you, being able to release a project for you, it's the album Divided We Fall, which is available on your website, leverty.com. How important has this extra time been as far as getting this out, or the timing? Did you already kind of have the finishing touches already put? What was kind of the timing of this for you?
I have to say I got lucky because I started working on this album 6 years ago, and as I finished a song, I would release a song. So the first song was released about 6 years ago. And then the most recent song, the 10th song, which was the last song on the album, which was the title of the song is Divided We Fall. And I thought, well, that's a good title for the album, especially today. I finished that very recently. So in the course of 6 years, putting out one song at a time, and then finally getting 10 songs where I could press them up and put them on a CD, that all happened right at the time where I wasn't able to go out to work. So it has been a saving grace for me, because the fans have really helped to step up and support me with buying the album from my website and buying a T-shirt and stuff like that. So it really has made a difference for me.
Well, it's tremendous, and I love the way that you've done this, because I remember, now that you mentioned the way that this has kind of gone, I remember, I think maybe the last time we had you on was about two or 3 years ago, and you had, released a couple of songs at that point. And so I'm just, knowing that kind of has all led to this is really cool. And you can go to the website right now, and if you want it to just pick up one of the songs or a couple of the songs or the whole album, it's all there. And I think it's a really cool way to have fans, have access to you and have access to this music. I think this is a tremendous way to do it, and it feels really interactive. And I mean, what's the reception been like so far? Because the songs are incredible. I think the production's great. How have you managed to pull off such great production? I mean, who's all kind of responsible for this, or is this mostly you doing all this?
Well, thank you. I have Michael Foster playing drums on 7 of the songs. A drummer that I've known since I was a kid here in Richmond named Andre LaBelle is also playing on the other 3. And Keith Horn, who played bass for Peter Frampton for years, and he played in Heart for a while, and he moved to Nashville and got a gig with Waylon Jennings and Trisha Yearwood, and then his last gig was with Luke Bryan. Then he got off the road and came back to Richmond, and he recorded a lot of the songs on this album as well. So I've got some really great players. I did the other stuff, the other instruments and the vocals, and I did the production and the mixing and so forth. But I have to say that those guys really lifted the quality of the songs by bringing in their artistry to it. Just magnificent performances by those guys.
Well, you've been really prolific in releasing solo material since 2004, which was your first foray, Wanderlust. The last 16 years, how important has it been for you to kind of be able to flex this creative muscle kind of in this sense? How important has that been for you?
Well, it's been wonderful. I've, the first thing in my life in priorities is my family. The second thing is Firehouse. And then when there's free time, I come down to my studio and I practice. And I have to practice a lot to keep at a level of proficiency, so that when I go out and play a Firehouse gig, I don't embarrass myself and the other guys. So I practice a lot. And then in the practicing part of what I do in my life, ideas pop out. And if an idea is good enough for me to feel that I'm going to take the time, and it takes a lot of time to finish a song, but if an idea comes out that where I go, okay, I'm going to see this idea through to completion, then I will, and I'll put it out as a song. And the great thing about doing it one song at a time is that I'm a little bit ADHD, so I don't have to wait with all the anxiety of wanting to release the song. I can just release it right away. You can get it on my website, you can get it on iTunes and all the other places. I wish, I prefer everybody gets it from my website, because I don't have to give Apple the 40%.
Exactly.
But it's a great way to put a song out, and then people can hear a side of me that they might not know about me as an artist, in that, I do other things. And some of the stuff is similar to what I do in Firehouse, and some of the stuff is very different. And so I've met a lot of new people by doing it, and it's been a really good exercise for my brain to keep my creative muscles, in shape.
Exactly. And I always felt like that maybe Firehouse in general, but you as a guitarist doesn't get the due that you deserve as a tremendous songwriter, writing some of the, some of the biggest hits of your guys' career. And now maybe with this, people being kind of able to explore and see you more in that vein as a top-notch guitarist and as a songwriter and even as a singer. I think that's tremendous. The title, Bill, Divided We Fall, just kind of happenstance, or kind of given the parlance of our times, is that something that just kind of came about here recently around the time of the release?
Well, it took me a long time to get that title. I had the melody for the song, and I had the chords behind the melody. I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to sing about. And the chords that happen right after the chorus also set a mood. So the lyric in that, the punchline in that chorus, which was the title, Divided We Fall, had to work phonetically while I sang the chorus, but also with the music that happened after it. So, which is kind of dark. So I struggled for a long time with it. And then I just thought, the United We Stand, Divided We Fall cliche, I thought I should twist that in some way. And to United We All Stand Tall, but divided we fall. And that all kind of happened right around the time that we came off the road in March. And it was before all the violent protesting that's occurred, which I think, just kind of adds more significance to the title. But it really wasn't so much about that as it just was that from a humanitarian standpoint, that if we can all work together and come together as a family, as a community, as a country, as a world, then we can do so much. But if we don't, then we will fall. So that's what it was.
That is so well said, and I completely agree. That's kind of what I got from the song, and it's so eloquently stated. And here we are. This is kind of the times that we're in, and I love the attitude of that. I got to ask you about Firehouse because it's just so unbelievable. Because I think the last time we had you on, you guys were doing a bunch of shows. We saw you up in Iowa doing this huge show with Bret Michaels and Dawkins and Warrant, and how you guys have always just sort of been this band, the band that could. I don't want to say the little band that could, because you guys have some tremendous accolades, right? But here you guys are. Could you ever have envisioned back in 30 years ago, the debut album came out 30 years ago, right? So 30 years later, that there's still this demand for this band and these songs, and that you guys can still go out and you can still command an audience, and that the songs still resonate with people? I mean, that's got to be an unbelievable feeling.
It really is. And we always hoped that we could, but we didn't know that we could. And it really is all because of the fans. The fans still come and they still care about our music, and it still moves them emotionally. We'll keep showing up even if they don't, but it makes it a lot harder for us to show up in faraway places if the fans don't buy a ticket. So the fact that they do, and that we can still go out and do this, is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And 30 years ago, I couldn't imagine meeting the people that I've gotten to meet, and getting to play on stage with some of the people that we've gotten to share the stage with, and being able to perform in front of the audiences that we've played. It's just been a miracle, honestly.
Well, kind of crazy enough, as I'm just looking around here, we're 2 days away from the 30th anniversary of the release, August 20th, 1990. It's August 18th. So happy 30th anniversary to Firehouse. So much. That's insane.
That is, we're excited about that. The first record came out in Japan in August, and then it came out in the States September. So you are right. That is correct. Back then, Sony, we were on Sony. Epic Records was a Sony label, and the Japanese wanted that album out a month in advance because they would get killed with imports otherwise. So that was the way that they did it back then. And it's been a great run so far, and we just want to go for another 30 years.
I'm all for it. I mean, what's it like when these anniversaries start popping up, because it's one, you guys are kind of on the young side. You guys are the younger guys of the kind of the lexicon of that era. We see Kiss, the anniversary of Alive, the 40th anniversary. I mean, that stuff comes and goes. Those, bands from the 70s started celebrating 40th anniversaries here 10 years ago, right? Which is insane. But for you guys, kind of on the younger end, you come in at the late 80s, early 90s. Now you start seeing 30-year anniversary. I mean, is it hard to compartmentalize kind of that time that it's gone by? Is it just kind of crazy to look back on those 30 years?
Well, 30 years sounds like a long time, but it seems like just yesterday.
Yeah.
When we played, the gig where the A&R guy came to that little club in Charlotte and looked at us and said, "I think you guys are ready for a record deal." That seemed like it was just yesterday. I can still picture him right there saying that, and saying that he was going to set the land speed record to getting us signed, and through the process and in the studio. And then we finished that record and we were right out on the road, playing clubs again. And then the record came out, and then bam, we were out playing theaters. And then that summer, bam, we were out with Warrant playing, big sheds, 20,000 seaters, and every night it was sold out. I think we did like 60,000 people in Chicago. So it just seems like it was just yesterday. And I feel like I blinked, and now here I am sitting here talking to you, bro.
I love it. That's the circle of life, and that's what it's all about, man. Music is the ultimate unifier, and here we are 30 years later, and that's what great songs do. And I think it comes down to that, Bill. Great songs last, great bands forge on. There's luck involved, certainly, but here we are, and I'm so grateful for that, because Firehouse has long been one of my favorite bands. And I want to take our listeners on a little bit of a wayback machine back to 1992, and I know Firehouse is going to forever be a Jeopardy answer because of the American Music Award you guys won for a favorite new hard rock artist in 1992, beating out two very little known bands called Nirvana and Alice in Chains. Firehouse did that. And the funny thing is, when I bring that up, or it gets brought up around my group of friends, I always say, that's right. And I'm still a bigger fan of Firehouse than those two bands. So to me, 28 years later, and the award is more than justified.
Well, thank you. We didn't think we were going to win that night, because, Nirvana had exploded and just gotten huge. But I guess the ballots went out early enough so that people voted and voted for us. And when they called our name, we always joke and said that we felt like our chairs were spring loaded, and they just shot us up to that stage to get that award. It was an unreal moment. But and we're glad that we were able to win that. And the way that we always felt was that, hey, that's a great thing to put on your mantle or whatever. But we got back to work, and we got back on the road. We were out on the road that summer with Tesla, and it was a tour that was supposed to last for 3 months. And the promoters had such great success with the tour that they invited everybody back twice. So it lasted for 9 months. We were on the road with Tesla with a really successful tour with those guys. And it was a great time for us and for rock and roll in general. I think all the bands that were out at the time were doing really well, and were enjoying great crowds and great concerts, and the gigs were incredible.
Well, it's funny, because obviously Love of a Lifetime becomes this massive hit, and to this day, it's still a wedding song. It's still one that people, look at. It's on XM's Hair Nation, kind of on a rotation once every, at least once a day. But I've always been a fan. I always thought Don't Walk Away is the best song on that album. I love that song. It's in the movie The Wrestler, if you've ever seen that amazing movie with Mickey Rourke. I love that song. Don't Walk Away, man. Still my favorite song on that album.
Well, thank you so much. I really love playing that one every night when we have time to play it. And that's also my wife's favorite song too. So
awesome.
I always loved that bluesy kind of feel and the message in the song. CJ wrote those lyrics and did a great job with that one. And I just feel like it really describes kind of what it's like to be in a relationship, and just kind of like begging that person not to leave. But, sometimes that's the way it happens. It's all she wrote.
Yes, indeed it has. Nice lesson learned for everyone there. Bill, I tell you what, before we let you go, we like to kind of send everybody away with a fun little segment we like to call the Final Four drum roll, which is just 4 quick questions. You give us whatever comes to mind, and we will send you along your merry way, my friend, if that works for you.
Okay, let's see how I do on these.
Well, this will be interesting. So what TV shows or shows have you got caught up on or watched kind of during this during the pandemic time?
Well, the one that I'm watching right now that my wife and I are going through is called Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, a great show. That's hilarious. I love that.
We love that. We love that show. That's a great one.
That's a good one. I finally got through Ozark, this last season of Ozark.
That was a great
and
show.
I mean, I live like an hour and a half from the Lake of the Ozarks, so I feel like that with the popularity of that show, everyone's always like, "Is REO Speedwagon really there? Is that how people really are?" It's like, well, no, it's filmed in Georgia, and we don't. It's, but still a great summer location.
Marty is a heck of a character.
I love. Gosh, he's Jason Bateman, amazing. Okay, so second question: what was the last concert that you attended as a fan?
Well, you mentioned REO Speedwagon. That would be the one.
Wow.
We opened up for those guys in Puerto Rico, and after we were done, I came out and watched their whole show, and it was just awesome because I remember when I first started playing guitar, their live album with 157 Riverside Avenue and Flying Turkey Trot. I was learning how to play guitar, and I was learning those songs, and it was that moment where I was watching them on stage and going, wow, I can't believe that I'm here. And I've seen them before, but it just really hit me really hard emotionally there. And then their guitar player, Dave Amato, who I've known for years, he comes down, he say, "Hey man, how you doing? Good to see you. What's going on? You guys sounded great." So that it was REO Speedwagon. That's the long answer.
That's awesome. Mine is Aerosmith in Vegas. I was actually on my way to see Kiss in Tulsa, Oklahoma, March 12th, and they canceled the show like as I was on my way. So I would be able to say Kiss and David Lee Roth, except for it's not. But oh my gosh, REO still at the top of their game. Saw them with Styx 2 summers ago. Amazing. Still, I love REO. Love those guys. Glad you guys got to. Well,
I am still a fan of music, and so much that I bought tickets for my wife and I to fly out to Vegas in July to see the Scorpions, and it canceled, of course. But
right, I was booked up for that as well. We had a show because we were good friends with the Queensryche guys, and they were opening that.
Yeah,
and we were going to cover that, and then that was a harsh blow right there because I love the Scorpions as well. That we might have met up. I think they're going to try it again in May, so maybe we can make something happen.
Frost.
What is question 3? The first album that you remember buying with your own money or stealing, I guess, if that's what happened.
Cosmos Factory by Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Awesome! Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a great. I love Creedence is just one of those bands that like they just never get old. Those songs, they resonate for the now to the end of time.
Yeah, it's American rock and roll. Great singer. Great songs, cool sounding American rock and roll. It's a big part of my DNA.
That's tremendous. Okay, so this is hard because it's been 6 years in the making for you. You talked about kind of releasing songs from the new solo album, Divided We Fall, but do you have a current favorite song on the album that you could say is unequivocally your favorite?
Well, I don't really have a favorite, but I do have a couple that I'm very fond of. The heaviest one that I think is gives the most power and best punchline in the chorus is called "You're a Natural." So I would say if people have time to listen to one song and make their determination of whether they'd like the album or not, just listen to that song, "You're a Natural," and I feel very, very happy with the way that one turned out.
I love that one. Love the whole album. Bill, I tell you what, it has just been a true honor, my friend. We'll be
the honor's mine, bro. Thanks, Clint. I appreciate your time so much.
Man, you've done so much for us, and like I said, it's been too long. It's been a couple years, and I'm so glad we're able to do it. And we're just hoping that, we can catch Firehouse out there on the road somewhere down the line, somewhere in the stratosphere. We're going to make this happen, man. We're going to get this thing back rolling. And Firehouse is one of those bands that, you know what, if there's a venue, if there's a place to go, you guys are going to be there on a weekend. It might be a casino. It might be a festival. It might be with Ron Keel in South Dakota. It's going to happen. We're going to be out there.
Yeah. If the governors allow it, we're going to play. As long as the city council doesn't jump in and say, oh, you can't do it. But I think it's going to happen soon. I really believe that soon we're going to have some good news on this. And my crystal ball is telling me this, and it's pretty right most of the time. So I really have this feeling that we're going to be kicking this virus's butt here, and we're going to be able to get back to normal here real soon.
Hey, I'm on board with that, Bill. Thank you so much again. Stay safe, stay healthy, my friend. We'll catch up again soon, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Clint. Take care, brother.